And now inviting respected Secretary Ayush, Shri Ajit Mohan Sharan for his welcome address.
Very warm welcome to this international conference on yoga. We are indeed honored and highly grateful to our Chief Guest, Honorable Vice President of India, for sparing his precious time to grace this occasion for inaugurating this important international conference. Excellency, your presence is extremely encouraging for us. Ladies and gentlemen, India has had a great tradition of scholars who have evolved our indigenous systems of healthcare like Ayurveda, Yoga, Siddha, etc. They believed in harmonious and symbiotic relationships with nature. In the course of time, India interacted with other civilizations and assimilated various ways of living life and protecting health, and believed staunchly in the philosophy of Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya. All should remain happy and all should remain healthy. To achieve this objective at individual and societal levels, it must be realized that practice of yoga stands out prominently to take care of imbalances in the body-mind system and interaction with society. In fact, the logo of International Day of Yoga being celebrated across the globe also has a citation, Yoga for Harmony and Peace, and the theme of the second international conference starting today is Yoga for Body and Beyond. Sir, we in the Ministry of Ayush feel that this second international conference on Yoga for Body and Beyond is going to provide an enormous opportunity to deliberate upon various aspects of yoga and simultaneously explore the relevance and role of yoga in holistic healthcare and harmonious, peaceful life. We started last year with a lot of hope and ambition and have taken a number of steps to promote, propagate and develop yoga in a befitting manner. It is an opportunity to set the tone of our future actions that we need to take for strategic development of yoga as a healthcare discipline in the paradigm of emerging scenario of lifestyle diseases and multiple health challenges. I'm keenly looking forward to fruitful deliberations for mapping out the road ahead. The program of the conference has been structured in such a way so as to give an opportunity to various groups of stakeholders present here to interact with our esteemed yoga gurus, scholars, exponents and experts from India and abroad. There are 9 technical sessions in the conference spread over 2 days where extensive deliberations upon various themes such as yoga and physical well-being, insights from yoga scholars, integration of yoga in the healthcare delivery system, yoga for mental health, yoga for body and beyond would take place. On behalf of the Government of India, Ministry of Ayush, I once again express our thankful gratitude and extend a warm welcome to the Honorable Vice President of India, all the dignitaries present here, yoga stalwarts, international and national delegates, experts, media persons, and all other stakeholders, doctors, clinicians, scholars present here. Thank you. Jai.
I am extremely thankful to the Honorable Vice President Sri Hamid Ansari ji, who took time out of his busy schedule to grace this occasion. His presence is a great inspiration to all of us. It gives me a great pleasure in welcoming all of you to this international conference on yoga for body and beyond on this momentous occasion in the history of our country and the world, when we have celebrated the second International Day of Yoga yesterday. Last year, International Day of Yoga was a proud moment for us at the Rajpath, where we are able to bag 2 Guinness World Records, namely the largest yoga lesson participant and a maximum number of nationalities participated in the single yoga lesson. The ministry had also organized a 2-day international conference on yoga for holistic health on 21st and 22nd June 2015 at the same venue, wherein about 1,500 delegates from India and abroad participated. Our last year program was very fruitful and the participants benefited immensely. The International Day Yoga celebration this year, yesterday, has been a grand success with citizens from all walks of life enthusiastically joining the celebration across the globe. Friends, yoga is one of the greatest gifts of this country to the human mankind. It has got a very rich tradition. Yoga is deeply embedded in our lineage. Still, yoga does not represent any religion or region. Probably that's the reason why as many as 177 out of 193 UN member states had not only supported the idea of declaring 21st June as an International Day of Yoga, but also co-sponsored this event. Today, the world is full of competition in different walks of our lives. Be it students, youth, businessmen, farmers, scientists, researchers, politicians, everyone is subjected to one or the other form of stress in their life. In fact, with the advancement of the technology, mankind today is becoming more mechanical and materialistic rather than egalitarian. Intense competition added to the stress as our life goals tends to be focusing only towards the asset. In our busy routine, no one perceives to have time to look within, to be able to enjoy the inner peace and happiness. Everybody seems to be searching peace and happiness outside through acquisition of material assets. In these circumstances, yoga helps us all to focus inwards, redirect and re-engineer our energies, and hence it is very relevant for contemporary world. The declaration of International Day of Yoga by the UN Assembly has accelerated the global initiatives for yoga promotion and adoption of significantly. It is a matter of pride that yesterday in India and various countries all across the globe celebrated the International Day of Yoga with gusto and fervor. I am sure this enthusiasm by the citizens of the world will further help them embedding the yoga in our daily lives to re-engineer our inner energies. I am therefore very hopeful that benefits of yoga will reach to every individual by the combined effort of the government and the civil society. As a part of our basic mandate, the Ministry of Ayush is committed for the development of Indian system of medicine, including yoga. The Ministry is in the process of establishing 2 postgraduate institutions for yoga and naturopathy, and also 6 Central Research Institute of Yoga and Naturopathy in different parts of the country under the Central Council for Research in Yoga and Naturopathy. One of the Central Research Institute at Rohini, Delhi, has already started functioning. Besides this, an All India Institute of Yoga and Naturopathy is being established in Goa, for which the process of acquisition of land is in fast track. Constitution of National Board of Promotion of Yoga and Naturopathy is also being planned by the Ministry. To National Ayush Mission, the setting of the integrated hospital has been taken priority, and many of the state governments are showing keen interest in this subject. Over a period, I am sure each state will have state-of-art integrated hospital. Our ultimate aim is to provide the best patient care facilities and also make everyone healthy and happy. Indian model of promoting yoga and other traditional system of medicine can be emulated by the other interested countries by taking into account their specific local conditions and context. In the light of the new trajectory of the yoga has acquired, we all understand that the therapeutic benefits of yoga will get more and more attention in future, which puts more responsibility on shoulder of each one of us who is attending this international conference today. To promote yoga in its authentic form, it becomes our primary responsibility to provide assurance to credibility or certification of service being provided. In order to cater to this need, Ministry of Ayush had exactly a year ago on this date launched a scheme for voluntary certification for yoga professionals, which is being managed by Quality Council of India. Recently, we have added a provision for certification of yoga school also. The scheme provided a mechanism to ensure the credibility and authenticity of the service provided by the yoga professional and yoga schools. I would wish to compliment the Secretary Ayush and his team, which has worked very hard along with team of Quality Council of India and various schools of yoga in the country to prepare and launch this very important and futuristic initiative in a record time. In addition, our government has also been making effort to safeguard and protect yoga at an international and national platform. To achieve its objective, the Ministry of Ayush has been actively involved with the Ministry of Culture in the process of filing of nomination of yoga for inscription in the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity at UNESCO successfully. Further, to prevent the misappropriation of yoga, Ministry of Ayush in collaboration with CSIR had initiated transcription of yoga asanas in the traditional knowledge digital library, that is TKDL, a flagship tool of India which helped the preventing the wrong patent grant. As of now, 1,680 asanas from 15 books have been transcribed. I am also glad to share that one of the major achievements from Ministry of Ayush this year has been signing of project collaboration agreement with World Health Organization headquartered Geneva on 13 May 2016. One of the activities under the agreement is to develop the benchmark for training in yoga. This would further help in standardizing the training modules and would help in better positioning of yoga at global level, ensuring its authenticity and link to Indian culture. Benchmark for practice of Ayurveda, Unani and Panchakarma would also be developed under this agreement. In future, we will be engaging more and more with various countries to promote World Health Organization strategy for traditional and complementary medicine. I am happy to see that this time we have large number of representation from foreign countries of yoga gurus, yoga exponents, yoga enthusiasts, yoga professionals and students. There are more than 80 international delegates and resource persons from around 35 countries. I thank all of you for so enthusiastically responding to our request for joining this conference. I am sure all the participants will be immensely benefited by the exhaustive and meaningful deliberation in this conference. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Vice President of India, Shri Hamid Ansari.
I thank the Honorable Minister, Nayak ji, for inviting me to inaugurate today's conference. I welcome the participants from home and abroad. This audience is aware that the decision to observe June 21 as the International Yoga Day was taken on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's commendable initiative by the United Nations General Assembly on December 11, 2014. Its resolution number 69-131 was sponsored, as the Mantriji has said, by 177 member states and was adopted without a vote. The UN observes a total of 128 similar days on different themes. The resolution recalled the earlier UN General Assembly resolution of January 2012, reaffirming inter alia the right of everyone to the enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of physical and mental health, and was premised on the importance of fostering good health and on lifestyle patterns that foster it. In that context, it recognized that wider dissemination of information about the benefits of practicing yoga would be beneficial for the health of the world's population. A good deal of discussion has been held in many places on defining yoga. Is it a science, an art, an aid to meditation, a spiritual path, or a religion? different interlocutors would give different answers, each valid to an extent and none universally endorsed. Some years back, I had acquired a copy of Patanjali's Yoga philosophy. It described yoga as one of the 6 systems of Indian philosophy. It defined yoga as concentration and as the method of suppression of the modification or fluctuations of the mind that can be stopped by practice and detachment. It emphasizes exercises of mind and body. It is a truism that for an average person and in his or her daily life, the practical outcome of a theory or philosophy is more relevant than the intricacies of the philosophical process itself. This would hold good for yoga also, and is the rationale of the UN General Assembly resolution and its emphasis on fostering good health. The argument is pragmatic and its basic premises self-evident. Firstly, good health, physical and mental, is an individual and social necessity. Secondly, absence of good health is a handicap for normal living, and hence it must be overcome. And thirdly, down the ages and based on the collective experience in different societies, prescriptions of good physical and mental health and the necessity of hygiene have been treasured, often reinforced for added effect by faith or culture-based edicts. Human history is also a record of human suffering through disease and ill health. The most telling examples of these are epidemics. The Black Death of the 14th century, for instance, emanated in China or Central Asia, spread across most parts of Europe, and took a toll of 75 million lives. Even today, the fear of pandemics continues to haunt us. As on so many other counts, there is a stark relationship between poverty and ill health. Poverty creates ill health because it forces people to live in environments that make them sick without decent shelter, clean water or adequate sanitation. For this reason, the world community's Sustainable Development Goals for the period 2016 to 2030 enumerate poverty, hunger and good health as the first 3 targets to be achieved. The importance of good health and of sanitation was well understood by the leaders of our freedom movement. Mahatma Gandhi had observed that health is the real wealth, not pieces of gold or silver. He had on many occasions written and spoken about the economic impact of insanitation. With greater availability today of public health data, it is possible to obtain a fairly accurate picture of the social and economic cost of ill health. 1. Indian households reported health-related adverse events as the most common adverse event, or 34% of all, after natural disaster at 51%, and about 40% of the household expenditure for treating non-communicable diseases were financed by households with distress patterns such as borrowing or sale of assets. Second, it is estimated that India lost $237 billion between 2006 and 2015 from premature deaths due to heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. Third, it has been estimated that the cost of non-communicable diseases for India is about 5 to 10% of the GDP. Similarly, the production functions approach estimates that India stands to incur a cost of 4 to 10% in annual economic output due to such diseases. And fourthly, overall, India stands to lose $4.58 trillion by the year 2030 due to non-communicable diseases and mental health conditions. Cardiovascular diseases accounting for $2.17 trillion and mental health conditions accounting for $1.03 trillion will lead the way in economic loss. A report prepared by the World Economic Forum and the Harvard School for Public Health in the year 2014 had concluded that cardiovascular diseases, cancer, chronic respiratory diseases, diabetes, and mental illness account for more than 63% of deaths worldwide. Given this profile and the inability or unwillingness to augment public health funding in developing countries, and that includes India, the quest for complementary health approaches assumes an urgency. Amongst these is yoga, which has acquired a following worldwide. These complementary approaches do not prevent or cure, but certainly assist the process of retarding the degeneration of those functions of the human body that allow the diseases to make inroads. Friends, besides these essentially physical aspects of the science of yoga lies its metaphysical dimension that, as Patanjali put it, focuses on the art of concentration and on the method of control of the modifications or fluctuations of the mind. This is termed detachment, in contrast to attachment, and is to be attained by practice. Hence, the physical comes to the aid of the mental by inducing in the mind of the practitioner the requisite level of concentration, eventually, reportedly leading to the attainment of samadhi. It is an interesting and fascinating aspect of the human spiritual experience that all systems of faith or belief have within them the practice of meditation. The Indian experience is a particularly good instance of this, given the rich interaction that took place over centuries in the areas of belief, consciousness, and practice. Thus we find yoga and meditation in Jain and Buddhist practices. Similarly, great importance is attached to meditation in Christianity, Islam, and Sikhism. The convergence or parallelisms are striking, even if rituals or modalities of enunciation may vary. They all depend on sounds or expressions that evoke appropriate responses from the practitioner based on his or her spiritual background. Nor is the practice confined to our part of the world only, or is only of ancient vintage. There is a good deal of contemporary debate about the practices of meditation, their utility and limits. This, however, is not the occasion to dilate on it. Let me conclude by going back to the practical aspect of yoga. It is a science, not a dogma. It helps improve the levels of fitness and the overall health profile. most practitioners testify to its usefulness. As for the more interesting philosophical aspects, perhaps some of the participants in this conference would shed light on it in their interventions. I wish the conference success in its work